one of the requirements, of course, for dealing with any country, for Jersey as a finance centre, you must know your client and all the rest of the legislation in place. You must know that there is a safe regime that you're dealing with. In other words, India has a reputation for corruption with its administration very long term. Are you quite satisfied that Jersey finance industry can safely deal with the financial institutions in India?
Well, certainly any counterparty that works with a Jersey entity is going to be subject to the same standards of regulation, and whether or not it's an Indian national, whether or not it's an Indian company, whether or not it's a national or a company from any other place, the standards in Jersey are high, and Jersey should not be regarded as an easy touch in terms of regulation. And there are, of course, issues with all sorts of countries of their own regulatory regimes. Fortunately, there is, I think, going to be a good dialogue between the regulatory authorities in Jersey and in India in terms of explaining what the flows of business are, and I hope, as far as a tax situation is concerned, that we will be signing a tax information exchange agreement with India, so that there is that transfer of information on tax matters.
Of course, there was some government-to-government dialogue. The fact that you were there, you were meeting various government representatives from the Indian government, but there's worrying that this was mixed with a promotion of a private business activity, the finance industry, and also the Jersey regulator was there also on what is a promotional tour. Are you quite happy that all those elements are kept quite separate and in the proper boxes?
We're a very small place, and so we need to take the maximum advantage when we do go on a trip, but certainly the different aspects of the trip are kept very separate. The people from the financial services industry were not involved for any of the government meetings, and certainly people from the industry weren't involved in any of the meetings I understand that the regulator has, but certainly it's not uncommon that there is a UK delegation of government ministers, of business leaders, of organisations, of charity, of not-for-profit organisations, that all go to a country in order to raise awareness of what they do. But you're quite right that the individual constituent parts need to be kept very separate, and some of those discussions are obviously confidential.
Also, there's opening of offices in foreign countries on behalf of Jersey, but basically it means Jersey finance. One of the themes which you presented, and which Cyril Marcon used to present years ago, was that Jersey was a politically stable place and therefore safe to deal with for foreign countries to deal with. What's the basis on which you think that Jersey is politically stable?
I think political stability can be interpreted in a number of different ways. It can be misinterpreted too. I think the Jersey system of politics is regarded as being stable in the sense that there is a separation nowadays between executive and the non-executive. There is a separation of the judicial activities in the appropriate way, and we can, in the case of our relations with any government, show that we're well run, that we have good parliamentary procedures, that we have effective democracy in terms of electing people and holding people to account. So the world of political stability that existed 30 years ago has certainly moved on to, I hope, a new system, and I think hopefully the system of ministerial government is more accountable and more appropriate, and certainly more easy to describe to other countries than perhaps the committee system was.
And I notice on the Indian government sites they refer to themselves as being politically stable, but they've got potential frictions on their margins with China and certainly other countries. Would you say that in long term India is a politically stable country?
I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on the political evolution of any country of the world. Certainly India is a great nation, it's a large nation, and it's certainly a nation that's going to be increasingly important on the global stage, together with some of the other growing developed countries of the world. But we shall see, of course, a natural evolution in all of these countries as they evolve, as their economies improve, and they have the financial resources to improve the people.
Another theme of the presentations was that the European and USA markets are probably diminishing, and Jersey is looking towards India and China to expand. So obviously this has to be a long-term project, presumably. You hope that these places will want to do business with Jersey long-term, because if it's like Dubai, you think it's a temporary aberration, but if these things are short-term, Jersey will be still in the eggs in one basket situation, won't it?
Well, I don't believe that the financial services industry is one egg in one basket. The financial services industry is diverse. It provides different types of services. Banking is very different to some funds areas, some fiduciary businesses, and also the geographic diversification is important. It's important that we have more than one egg in one particular geographic region. Some economic regions in the financial crisis have fared quite well. Others have fared, as we've discussed, had more problems. Certainly the UK is certainly not emerging from recession. There are other areas within Europe that are, and we need a diverse geographic base to not only our financial services industry but our other industries too.
Just to wind up, do you think it's realistic India has an expanding economy, as you say, especially strong on software and such like? Do you think it's more likely that the work will go from Jersey to India in the near future rather than the work coming from India to Jersey?
I hope that the Jersey-Indian relationship is going to be 1 + 1 = 3. I visited one very interesting company that provides IT services in Jersey. We are constrained in terms of labour and in terms of space in Jersey, and where there is an opportunity to expand Jersey business by the use of Indian IT expertise, which I saw on the ground. I saw an office that employs 10 people in Jersey and 100 people in India. That's benefiting both Jersey and that's benefiting the people that are employed in India, and I think that that's certainly going to be a model going forward. We need to grow our economy, but we have got a constraint of capital in terms of land and labour, and India provides some limited opportunity for outsourcing for Jersey businesses where appropriate.
Thank you much indeed.